Well, welcome, hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to Bloodbowl Live for our Monday night roundup. Here to give you all of the details on the last weeks of fixtures, and it's been a busy week. Not fixture-wise, I just feel like we've done a lot. There's a lot that's been going on over the last week. I'm completely unprepared for today in many ways. Way number one that I'm unprepared is that the title of this stream is incorrect. So that's not a good start, is it? But I am prepared with all of the details for what happened this week because we did have a hell of a week of games. We had many shocks, and we also we did a lot this week. Other than the games, we started doing our 30-second roundups, so you can catch them as well. Yeah, just a lot. A lot. And we will try and dive straight in to the games this week. We won't dawdle anymore. And we will dive straight into the first knockout game, which was the Tetanus Hotspurs versus the Corn Asylum. Tetanus Hotspurs going into this game with 6 wins from 6. Corn Asylum going in with the top wildcard spot. So on paper, you probably wouldn't be out of line to think that this was going to be an absolute, maybe a bit of a walkover. And it certainly wasn't. The Corn team absolutely did themselves credit in this game, and I think even Scott, coach of the Tetanus Hotspurs, will acknowledge that there's a degree of luck that he managed to turn this around. It was a very tight game. Looking at the inducements wise, there wasn't a huge amount in it, so just one mascot that went for the Hotspurs, but roles weren't going the Nurgle team's way at all. And the Corn team started the way they do many games, got some fouls in, they managed to badly hurt a lineman. They fouled with anyone. They fouled with anyone they could, and one of their star players gets sent off on turn 3 for a foul. But the Corn had control at the beginning of the game, and on turn 6 scored, and they could have scored earlier, but they did some really well placed blocks in order to make sure that no Nurgle player could get close to the Corn player with the ball. They did really well to position themselves to try and stall out as long as possible, and managed to stall, and took a 1-0 lead going into the half. The Nurgle team did have a chance to score. They went for a failed a dodge. I think rolled 1 on a dodge roll, had used up all of their rerolls. So they did give it a good go, but they went in 1-0 down at the break. Second half comes around, and as you can see, the Corn team start the way that they have been. They get some fouls in, they get some casualties in, taking out the rot spawn, which was a good result. You might hear my dogs in the background, but you can just ignore them. Taking out a rock spawn on turn 14, and doing well to really make the Nurgle team sweat, who get their touchdown on turn 15 because they couldn't afford to stall any longer, but also couldn't score any quicker. So we went to extra time, and the Nurgle team won the toss in extra time. And you actually wonder whether extra time went the way of the toss. I think if the toss had gone to the Corn team, I think we could have been for a roll off here because the Nurgle did very well. Got into a good position, stalled out until the last turn, and got a final turn touchdown in extra time to take the 2-1 win. And extra time is always so tough because there is a degree that the team that wins the toss gets the advantage, and that was the Nurgle team. But a great game, and JD should be so chuffed with his performance. He played so well, and I think he just maybe. I don't even think there's massive amount he did wrong, to be honest. I think the Nurgle team persevered, managed to get the equaliser, and snatched it in extra time. But well done to JD, and well done to Scott. That's 7 wins in a row now, albeit extra time. Whether we count this as a draw, do we count it as a draw? I don't know. But it manages to go through our first qualifier and managed to avoid an upset. But we did get upsets in this knockout, and the next game we got an upset. Tipsy Tankards, as we know, as we've been talking about all season, absolutely brutal on their offensive play, really, really aggressive, so many casualties, taking out so many teams. And in the last group game, they gave away a lot of inducements and took a bit of a hammering in their last game. A few key players out for this one, and they went from being one of the highest value teams in the league to taking 2 journeymen and a part-time coach inducements. That's how badly that game set them back. And a very, very tight game. The fouling Norse lineman goes out halfway through the second half, and a touchdown for the Graveyard Brawlers on turn 6. And the Graveyard Brawlers clearly had done their work and had a strategy going into the second half, and their strategy was just to stop the Norsemen moving as much as possible. So they wouldn't dive back, they weren't being too, they were just one step back every turn, limiting the amount of blocks that the tankers could have, limiting the amount of movement that they could move forward, and just making it very, very difficult. The Norse had to try various things, various different plays, risky maneuvers to try and get them out, and every turn got themselves into a position where they could maybe break through. And I think Nuffle was just on the Graveyard Brawlers side, and uphill blocks, one dice blocks, all of this stuff were just paying off, and they were just able to hold them back. And I think I don't want to do the Graveyard Brawlers a disservice here, because I want to, I'll be honest, I did not see this result going any other way than Robert going through. I genuinely didn't. So well done to Tom. But also, Robert has been an outstanding performer so far this season, and last season with this Norse team. He's really built something special. I hope that we see them again. Because they are fantastic to watch. He plays them so well, and I think Robert's bad games. Everyone's due bad games at some point, and it was not even a bad game for him. His luck, his game without luck maybe came at just the wrong point in the season, where some teams have maybe got that game out of the way in the group stage. Robert had that game now, and it's so unfortunate. But massively well done to Tom. Strategically, tactically, absolutely nailed this game, and should be really, really chuffed with going through. And a team to be feared now. A team to be feared. Well done to both coaches for a really entertaining fixture either way. Our next game was the Greystone Gladiators, the Elven Union team, versus the delightful Dirty Golden Browns. We streamed this game. You can watch that stream over on our YouTube channel. It might still be on Twitch for a few more days, but on the YouTube channel, it's all there if you want to watch it. Coaches were mic'd up, and before I go into the game, massive thank you to the pair of them. They were really, really engaging to watch. They were really engaging with sort of explaining what they were doing and things like that. So really, really appreciate it. And it was a great game. It was a really, really interesting game to watch, because I think I held out hope that the Skaven could turn it around at any moment, and that moment just never came. And they got off to a really unlucky start, where the Gladiators, straight away the kickoff event is a blitz, and the Gladiators surround the ball. So uphill immediately for the Skaven team, and they did what they did what they as best as they could to try and come back. But turn one, going 1-0 down on turn one is always painful. It's a Skaven tactic that the elves used against them perfectly. A tough sort of scrappy battle then ensued, but the Elves managed to get a second touchdown before the term half was over, and go in with a 2-0 lead at the end. Started very sunny as well, which is very unfortunate for two teams that maybe like to do things like throwing and passing. Managed to get a completion regardless. Weather changed on turn 6. after the second touchdown, allowing for a completion for the Rats. And before the half is over, just for good luck, the blitzer goes and kills the thrower for the Golden Browns, which will have been a hit. A gutter runner then goes out as well on turn 9 early in the next half, and the Elves persevere. They've got momentum on their side. They've got the kick on their side as well. Get some casualties on the way. Get some completions, and by turn 12, the game is over at 3-0. The Rats do what they do best and got a touchdown immediately afterwards in turn 13 to make it 3-1, and then actually could have made it 3-2, probably not with enough time to level the game, but they could have made it 3-2. They weren't giving up, they were still pushing forward, and actually then the Elves could have made it 4-1 as well. The Elves also had a chance to get another touchdown. So both teams really going at it, and it was a really good show for both of them. It was really back and forth in those moments near the end of the game. Neither team wanting to sit back, both going for as much as they can. You have to say a well-deserved victory for the Elven Union team. Well done to Justin. He came into this game on the back of 3 losses with a tough group that he got out of, but managed to get a really good performance in. Unfortunate for the Golden Browns, who built up a bit of a run, but just met a team that was really, really evenly matched for them, and yeah, unfortunate, but well done again. A great game to watch, so thank you to both coaches, and well done to Justin for going through. Final game. Last one that we had this week was another upset, possibly a bigger upset than the previous one. We had the Riotous Rams, Rich, a 2-time champion, going for his 3rd back-to-back title, going for his 2nd title in a row with the Riotous Rams. Simon, 3rd season in the ADBBL, had not won a game until he came into this season. Had not reached playoffs until he came to this season. Pulled off a couple of amazing results in the group game, and came into this one the obvious underdog. He was the bottom qualifier. He was the lowest place qualifier that we had. Took that last wildcard spot, which was nearly taken from him on several occasions, and put up an amazing fight in this game and came out on top. It was really a great performance. Inducement wise, he had a bucket to play with. Ripper Bogrot, he took a reliable ringer, legendary lineman, and a bona fide big guy. He took loads of inducements, and they worked for him. In this team, he had 2 Rat Ogres on the pitch. He had Ripper Bogrot as another big guy there as well, a reliable ringer who can help him. I think he was taken to replace a thrower that he lost in a previous game, and worked really, really well. Now, the Rams got off to the better start in this game. The Rams had the momentum, had the ball down, and Rich looked like he was in the kind of position we've seen him in before, where he has the ball comfortably and he he positions players really well, gets the right blocks in place to make it very difficult to reach that ball carrier. And he'd done that, and he went for a rush to get the touchdown. Possibly didn't need to. At the time it may have seemed like a good option, but he maybe didn't need to take that rush. The gutter runners probably had the pace to catch. It did have the pace to catch the player. He chose to make the rush and rolled a double one on the with a reroll, and then with the pace of the Rats that this Word Hollow team have, swooped in, got the ball, got it up the pitch, got it to the ringer, and went down and got the touchdown on turn 8, completely against the way the half had gone. Just capitalised on those last few turns. Got to the second half, and again, so Word Hollow this time started a bit better, but made a mistake which the Rams were absolutely able to capitalise on. And at this point, they are losing players. Both teams are losing players, but the armor dice that were being rolled by the Word Hollow team were just phenomenal. Tens over and over again. And Rich wasn't getting the same kind of luck on his side. So he was down on numbers, but he manages to get a touchdown on turn 13. I know he would have wanted to score later than that and maybe take the game to extra time, but he couldn't. The pressure they were putting the Wanderers were putting the pressure on, making that very very difficult. Lost one of his good blockers on the way. Herdocletus went on the way, and the Word Hollow team, the Underworld team, had 3 turns, and anyone who's played against Rats teams with gutter runners in will know that you don't need more than 3 turns. It was 11 versus 6 for that drive that was started by the Wanderers, and they still had the strength on the pitch. They still had both Rat Ogres. They still had Ripper Bogrot, and they were just able to hold the Rams at bay and stroll the ball in to take the win on turn 16. And I mean, Rich, the dice were definitely against Rich today, but that's not to undermine a great performance from Simon on the games where where things have gone a bit more his way. He's had a couple of games this season now where he has just been absolutely on fire. He's had some really really good results, and I'm so happy that he managed to go through. And Rich has been in this position several times. He's a 2-time champ. Rich absolutely knows what he's doing, and things just didn't go his way today. He couldn't have bought the dice today on this game, I don't think, and that's when that happens, it always sucks. But a really good, never giving up at any point, Rich, in this game, and he's a 2-time champion for a reason, and I hope we see these Rams back again for a 3rd season to go for that 3rd title. So another shock. So that's 2 shocks that we had, and we can have a little look at the bracket. Now, quick thing to say about the bracket. We're pretty sure that the bracket is what the bracket says it is. However, Tourplay does like to throw us some curveballs every now and again, and there is a chance that it gets shuffled up a bit when we draw the quarterfinals. But if it is how it is there, Greystoke Gladiators are through, as are the Word Hollow Wanderers, so that's an interesting matchup. That's again some Rats against some Elves, plus some Snotlings thrown in there as well. Tipsy Tankards, unfortunately out, so the Graveyard Brawlers go through. James will be looking for a good result for the Angry Advarkians against the Numpties. They play on Friday. See if he can get some revenge for his brother in the quarter-finals. The Nurgle team will face either Lizards or Rats. I will certainly be hoping that he is facing Rats in that instance. Very tight game, the Lizards versus Rats. We both have identical team values as it stands right now, but we also both have money to spend. So it'll be interesting to see what we both do and how we go into that game, to see who faces the Nurgle team, who are currently not only unbeaten, but lots of wins. And then we also have Amazons versus Lizards and Norse versus Elves. So I'm not sure when Amazons versus Lizards is taking place, but Norse versus Elves, Angry Avlarkians versus Numpties, that's Dwarfs versus Chaos Renegade, and also Lizards versus Rats are all taking place on Friday night. We're going to do our best to stream one of them, and on that stream we'll do our best to keep you updated on every other game that's going on as well. It is going to be a hell of a night of games, so keep an eye out. We'll post some more details on that when we have it. And a quick summary of the King of the Streets as well. As you're aware, we're doing our King of the Streets for teams that are eliminated. A few more teams have joined the list, as you can see. We've had a few games played. No one has won a game so far. It has been draws all around in the King of the Streets. So there is everything to play for. So Corn Asylum, Tipsy Tankards, Golden Browns, Riotous Rams. Hey, if you want to give it a go, if you want to see what could happen, jump into the King of the Street. See if you can claw your way up to the top of the table. Remember, you only have to be top of this table as the full-time whistle goes on the final game of the season, and you can take the title of King of the Streets. That's us. That's us for Monday. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't forget you can catch all of these roundups, all of the previous roundups, and every game we've streamed, plus our 30-second recaps, all on our YouTube channel. Go and check that out. We're live every Monday here. We're live when we stream games, which will let you know when the next stream is as well. We're also now on Instagram as well, so if you search for Blood Bowl Live on Instagram, you will find us. What we would love to do there, if people have photos of their teams, we would love to share them and show everyone some of the amazing paint work that we've got. We've got some really great looking teams, some really detailed jobs, some really interesting modifications for mutations and stuff. We'd love to share all of that there, so head over to there as well. But that's it for today. We will catch you for the next game, if not for the next roundup. Either way, we'll see you next time.